My name is Dottie Byerly, and I'm a docent here at the Hammond-Harwood House in Annapolis. I've always been interested in old houses, and a few years ago I started coming to the Hammond-Harwood House when our curator, Rachel Lovett, had a series of brown bag lecture tours. And I would come every Tuesday for about 2 years, and I learned so much about the house, and it just made me want to learn more. She said to me, "Why don't you come and be a docent?" And I've been a docent ever since, and I love it. I love learning all the time. I love the house so much just because it's just such a wonderful old house. But what makes it really special, it's probably the only house in Annapolis that was designed by an architect. Another interesting fact is the fact that 95% of this house is original. The wing on my left was designed to be rented out. And in 1910, my grandfather, who had graduated from the Naval Academy, came back to Annapolis to be stationed here, brought his wife, and they rented the wing. And my mother was born in 1911 in that wing of the house. So that is my connection to the house that makes it so special for me. I can imagine when I'm out here in the garden that my grandmother, before my mother was born, I can imagine her walking around the garden, and then after she was born, pushing her maybe in the baby carriage. I love the herb garden because I think it's right by the kitchen, and I can picture their cook coming out and picking things to go into the food. And it's fun for me to be able to think that I have that connection to the house, that my family, part of my family was born here. The family that the house is interpreted for is the Lockerman family. And in 1826, Mrs. Lockerman planted the privet hedges here in the shape of a heart. And the property went all the way back to the next colonial house, the Paca house. And she planted that heart, the story goes, so that when her husband came in on a ship in the harbor, he could see that heart and know he was home. And all we have left is the top of the heart now. We know that this house was designed by an architect because it has many features that make it very special. The door behind me is called a jib door, and there are only a few in Annapolis. It is meant from the inside to look just like a window, but from the outside, the bottom parts open out and the window pushes up, and that was their way of getting out into the garden. Another feature would be in the foundation, what we call galleting. It's large stones in the foundation with smaller stones pushed into the mortar. One reason would be to make the house more solid, and the other reason would be that he would have that much money to do something that wasn't necessary. You can see in the design of the house all the different extra things, the little round windows, and on the side there's a Palladian window. It just has many details that wouldn't be in other colonial houses, even here in Annapolis. Well, I think we need to see where we've come from. It's so important in the Four Rivers Heritage Area that it's a living history place. It isn't just a house here and a house there, but there are actually so many houses around, and you can picture our patriots walking down the streets and walking up to the Capitol. And I think that's important, especially for the children when they come around to the house, to really feel the history. And I think here in Annapolis you can feel the history.